Good afternoon. Welcome to the 415. I am RAINA STARR. I am waiting for my co-host, the amazing STARR BUSTAMONTE, who will be here momentarily. The 415 is brought to you by the incredible House of Black Cat Magic, Desperate House Witches, and, of course, wildhunt.org. Wildhunt.org. Give it all your support for less than the price of a
Yeah.
cup of coffee at places and things. Ah, there's my co-host. Say hello, Star.
Hello, Star.
Mm-hmm. So we got quite a show for you today. Just want to let y'all know that it's going to be sweary as usual. The opinions expressed
Extra,
here
extra sweary, extra
is going to
sweary.
be with even more sweariness. So if you like it extra sweary, we are going to deliver that for you today. There's a lot to talk about because the fire hose of shit is extreme and continuous. So there's just a whole lot to get to. Um, we have a show outline. I don't even know how long we're going to be on today because there's so much to get to. We may just, one day we may do a marathon. I don't know. It may call for it. But anyway, welcome to the show. Sit tight, get a beverage. Well, don't sit tight if you have to get a beverage. Go to the bathroom, because there's not going to be any breaks. We are on fire, literally. First topic we wanted to
Yes.
get to today. We wanted to talk about the fires in North and South Carolina because they are close to home, and we're all suffering some kind of related weather PTSD and economic bullshit just from that. We'll get to all the other economic bullshit later, but um, our beloved Star has some personal things to say about the economic damage. Star, why don't you tell folks what's going on?
Okay. Well, first, I want to give an update on the fires. So we got some really good rain a couple of days. Starting on Sunday,
Mm-hmm.
we got Saturday, well, late Saturday into Sunday, and then Sunday night, and then some rain, a little bit of light rain on Monday, and then we got some pretty good rain again last night. So I just checked the uh, fire services, the Forest Service site for North Carolina, and the two. So there was the Black Cove complex, which was initially three fires: the Black Cove fire, the Deep Woods fire, and then the Fishhook fire, and they were all pretty close together. But the Deep Woods and Black Cove kind of merged. Uh, the good news is that the Black Cove fire is now like 97% contained, and the Deep Woods is about 79% contained. And we're supposed to get more rain later in the week and on Sunday. Much of the rest of the country is experiencing severe weather. That has not been the case here, and it's been great to get rain to knock some of these fires down. This time last week, there were like 105 fires burning in North Carolina. There are now 57. So, and that's 57 active fires, whether they're, controlled or still burning or, partially contained. And there's new ones still popping up pretty much every day, but they've reduced the number by about half. And the rain played a big part of that. Um, on a personal note, I just want to say that anybody who survived Hurricane Helene up here, we all have weather PTSD. Every time it thunders or it looks like there's going to be a severe storm, when we had all those high winds, for about almost 10 days, um, it was producing a lot of anxiety. And then to have fires on top of it, um, I mean, it's a lot. It's a lot. Uh, so things are looking up a little bit economically, maybe a little bit, but they're still I learned the other day that 60 businesses in Asheville have gone out, have closed. 60. And that's directly related to the storm.
Yeah.
Like they just couldn't hang in there. Which, I mean, if you think about it, restaurants and places that really need water, like hair salons, all of those facilities, uh, going 2 months without potable water. Well, I mean, it was 2 months without water, period. And then when we got water back, it still wasn't potable. It was another, couple of months. And
Oh yeah.
then when we turned in our samples right before winter solstice to check for lead, because that was also a fun extra added bonus of all of this.
Mm-hmm.
We didn't get those back until February. So for 2 months, you didn't know, was your water safe to drink? Is it safe to drink? We still don't know. But most of the results came back negative for lead, which was the big one. Lead and copper, the two that they test for. So anyway, if you're coming here to visit, and do come visit, and please spend some money locally, eat at local restaurants, shop at local stores, skip the chain stores. You can find those anywhere. But be kind to people, because it's been rough. And those of us that are still open and hanging in there, I mean, we're hanging by our fingernails. And while locals have been really good about supporting local businesses, this is a tourist town. This is a tourist area. And we really, in order to thrive, we really are dependent on tourist money, which we won't be getting any from outside of the U.S., at least not for the foreseeable future.
No.
Do we want to talk about tariffs? Because I want to talk about tariffs, but I also want to talk about penguins.
Um, I, let's kind of stick to the order of things a little bit because there's so much that connects to tariffs. That's kind of our big story of the day. Actually,
Okay.
everything's a fucking big story of the day, to be honest with you. But let's hold on to that one because the tariffs are going to hit everything in every direction. I think we would be remiss if we did not discuss deportation without due process. Hello, Kitty.
Quinn
Hello.
says, fuck that guy. That's what she just said. She said, fuck
And
that guy.
and I must wholeheartedly agree with her assessment of the situation. Fuck that guy. Fuck the guy who is the co-guy to the guy. Fuck the guy who thinks people should be executed over cars and showrooms. Fuck all that shit. But yeah,
Just all of them. Just all of them. They
just
just, yeah.
yes, the enablers of uh, who would have thought America could be destroyed within an 8 week period, 10 week period. Wow. Talk about being held together with a handshake and popsicle sticks. What the actual fuck? But didn't we warn people? I could swear we said we might have mentioned something about this, yeah, being fragile and shit. But okay, what do I
Mm-hmm.
fucking know? But let's talk about the deportation without due process and how people got sent uh, away to other countries um, illegally, with no plan to bring them back. Hello?
Yeah.
What
Yeah.
the actual fuck is happening?
Well, that's pretty much it. Big story in the news the beginning of the week, and it's not going away. So I like the fact that this is it's still getting some traction.
Mm-hmm.
But one of the people that they just scooped up and transported to an El Salvadoran slave prison, uh, which, I mean, uh, it's just hard to even process all of this. Uh, like, the administration admitted that he had protected status, and
Mm-hmm.
they just snatched him and deported him anyway. Uh, and I mean, then they said, well, yeah, we made an administrative error, but they can't bring him back. There's no way to bring him back, which, is a bunch of bullshit.
Mm-hmm.
Um, I mean, it's horrifying. It's horrifying. And it seems to be unending. Um, some other fun stuff about uh, all of this is, they've been using the Venezuelan gang tattoo, right? That's how they're identifying people that are part of the gang.
Mm-hmm.
Um, well, guess what? That
Big
gang
one.
doesn't have an official tattoo.
Right.
It doesn't have any tattoos that are used as, identifying marks per se. None that
Mm-hmm.
are, none. So, I mean, it's just a bunch of bullshit. And now they've also, I think we talked a little bit last time about that they had scooped up people that were students, uh, because the one guy, uh, what was his name? Oh shit, I can't even remember. There's been so many, I can't I can't keep up.
Yeah.
Uh, like, it was more, that was like, they're like, well, he organized protests or was a protester or whatever, which there's, I mean, last time I checked, it was still legal to do all that. But
Mm-hmm.
now they have scooped up some folks. One was a student who had written an editorial for the school paper criticizing, uh, the administration and its policies. And now they have scooped her up. So I guess they're now, what are they? The fucking thought police?
Yeah, and I want to say something about that real quick. They have accused the quote unquote woke left as being the thought police. How funny it is that their team is now arresting people for actually being the thought they're being the thought police. So this whole I'm going to accuse you of it and then arrest you for it is just so amazing to me. The whole switcheroo, and it's amazing that people are not calling this bullshit out. I mean, people are starting to call the bullshit out, but the slow turn of events and the slow turn of people against the administration is very interesting to see. The problem is, in my opinion, because I am not a scholar, obviously, is that it may be too late. It may be too late in the game for that to actually work because they are already doing things that will undermine all of the next elections. I think Wisconsin has made a point to Trump and his co-president Muskie. It's not looking good. I think they see the writing on the wall. Uh, there's just stuff baked in the cake with Florida that I don't expect Florida to be redeemable as far as making sense in its voting. But keeping the Supreme Court in Wisconsin uh, liberal is a good sign. It's a good sign that people are waking up. But once again, if you wake up too late, then it's just too fucking late. You're already in an autocracy, and that's it. You're done. You're done. So unless we really make that plan, as I've been talking about since the election, unless we really coalesce with a team and take definite steps and stop this wishy-washy fucking bullshit of, well, no one asked me who I wanted to vote for, and this willy-nilly bullshit and not being on the same fucking page. And I'm gonna hammer this every fucking show if I have to, up until the midterms, the next election, as long as I'm still allowed to have a goddamn show and that we're still allowed to be on the air, because nothing is off the table, in my opinion. As far as I'm concerned, We are at risk every day for what we are willing to do to bring you this information. And Starr and I have no intention of stopping willingly. For
Nope.
sure. We have had
Nope.
this discussion. We have agreed that as long as we have breath and we can still get on the air, we will do this shit because this shit matters. And the fact that we're older doesn't mean a goddamn thing because the next generation has to hear this shit and we need y'all to spread the fucking word. We are watching it for you. Starr is certainly doing a yeoman's job of keeping us together and keeping that information flowing, being the news person and the wonk that she is. And we're just going to keep this shit rolling. But the fact is that they could cut us off at any fucking time. But as long as we can keep doing it, we're doing it. We are doing it. We're not getting paid for it. We're not accepting anything for it. We are doing it because it's important. And as pagan people, um, this is what we're called to do. This is what we are called to do. So we appreciate everyone who has supported us, has listened to us for years, and we're not going anywhere until we fucking have to. So if it ever turns up to y'all that we have disappeared, know that it was not by choice. But until then, we're going to fight this fight. But we do need to have a plan. Independents, disaffected Republicans, liberals, Democrats, all y'all, all of us, we need to coalesce around a team and who we're going to support and stop having this last minute battle amongst ourselves, which is why we keep fucking losing. We've got to have a definite plan. We need to settle on who we're going to support, and we need our potential candidates to actually start coming to the fore and letting themselves be known. We do not have time for this last minute shit. We've got to get to know people up front as quickly as possible. And I really would encourage people who want to run for the next election, for who want to run for president, to start letting us know that now.
Yeah.
So
So,
I
well,
really think that's
so,
important.
so I got a couple of things that I want to interject here. First of all,
Please do.
I don't think it's ever too late. Okay. Um, you can look at the Philippines is a great example. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
And you can look at Maria Ressa's work. She wrote a book, how to how to beat a dictator.
Mm.
Uh, how to win against a dictator, something like that. I'm
Mm-hmm.
gonna look it up real quick so I give you the right.
And that's all well and good, and I appreciate that information, but I'm going to tell you my faith in the American electorate is such that we need a long-term plan. Um,
Well, okay. How to Stand Up to a Dictator is Maria Ressa's book. I've read
yeah,
it. It's a fucking fantastic book, and it also
cool.
points out how these social media were moguls were they knew what was happening. They did nothing to stop it.
Right.
But the reason I mention her is because they fought back and they won. And um, even with the piece of shit that's currently running the Philippines, they still came out. Uh, they're still fighting,
Mm-hmm.
but they'll get there. And I think
Yeah.
so. I mean, while I hear what you're saying, I mean it's never too late. We keep fighting and we keep pushing, and we've had some pretty significant uh, pushback this week,
Mm-hmm.
and I think that's really important.
Mm-hmm.
Um, Most of the news agencies, even the big, you know, big outlets, have pointed out that you know this administration is violating court orders, and so far the courts are holding. I don't think we can depend on the courts to save us per se. The only, no one is coming to save us. We're going to have to save ourselves, which means we need to be involved. We need to be activated. There is big protests all across the country this weekend. Hands off protests Saturday. Find find a find one close to you and go. Uh, One of the things that I find very encouraging is organizations like Indivisible, but also Swing Left. They are doing the work. They're they're out there doing the work, and they're really pushing for. They just rolled out their campaign, 3 to Win, which is how they plan to flip the House. And uh, if the elections that we had on Tuesday are any indication, I think that we have a really good chance of flipping the House. Uh, I'm going out of order here,
It's
but I
okay.
can't help. I can't
It's
help
okay.
myself.
It's okay.
the so Susan Crawford won the Wisconsin State Supreme Court seat, and I mean won it big.
Yes.
And dickhead Elmo, with a fake piece of cheese on his head, he put $1 million. No, how many million? 30.
Two. Two.
Well,
Well,
he gave
it,
2 million, but he
two
pumped in
million
like
was 30 million for the campaign, but 2 million in direct payments to voters, to two people, which is
hmm
also a totally different violation in and of itself. Um,
right.
and no one's doing anything about that either. Excuse me.
No, of course not. Well, they're not going to, but it doesn't matter. So he spent $32 million, and the
Still
candidate
lost.
he backed lost, and lost big. Um,
Hmm.
some of the other elections, like the one in Florida, in a ruby red district, um, a district that Trump won by 30 points. They barely managed to squeak it out. Like it was like what? Like I think it comes down to like a 7. They won by 7 or 8 points.
Five to
5.
seven. 5 to 7.
Yeah.
Yeah. Hmm. Hmm.
Yeah. So I mean, I find all of this encouraging, and I think that people are pushing back. The Tesla takedown rallies that have been happening, I mean, they're happening all over. And like last weekend, there were a bunch of them. They were largely nonviolent. And then I think wasn't it Germany? In Germany, like somebody set a fucking Tesla lot, like they set it on fire in Germany. Okay, Germany.
We do
So
not
it's not.
condone. We do not condone. We are merely observing. We do not
Yeah.
condone. We're not
No,
telling
don't go.
anybody, don't do it. We're just observing. That's all we're doing.
Um, but yeah, so I mean, shit's getting real.
Hmm.
Uh, he is lot. I mean, I think he's probably going to be out. There's been a lot in the news just recently that his lordship is displeased with
Yeah.
how that Musk failed to deliver in Wisconsin, and uh,
Hmm.
yeah, you know so there's hope. And I also want to, this is something that you will hear from other experts when it comes to resistance work and really pushing back on all of this. Whether you're doing 5 calls, whether you're working with Indivisible, Swing Left, any of these organizations, they will all tell you the same thing. Pick one or two things, one area that is important, that is really important to you, and make that your hill to stand on. That
Yeah,
that's
that
what
has
you're
to
going
be
to
your
fight
focus.
for.
Yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely. You can't be everywhere at once. Pick your favorites, one or two, focus on those one or two things, and make that your mission. Because if you try to focus on everything, you're going to exhaust yourself and then you're going to stop doing any of them. So it's really important to just focus on what your true passions are. For example, and I need to interject this one now, um, because I do want to talk about Trans Day of Visibility, which was, I believe, Monday. This is a
Yeah.
special one to me because I have people in my family who are trans. So this does have a direct effect on me. I've been a supporter of the trans community since before the people in my family were even born. Um, and it's important. And no matter what Trump says about who is what and what there is, uh, he doesn't get to dictate who and what we are. He doesn't get to tell people. He does. You don't get to tell anybody anything about anyone except yourself at any time. That is it. That is all we get to do as human beings. We get to talk about our personal selves and our personal experience, and that's it. Because that is truly all you will ever know about is your personal experience as a human being and what you decide you are. And no motherfucker is in any position, whether it's a pope or a president or a parent or a sibling or anything else for that matter, has the right to tell you how you should identify, what you should identify as. It doesn't matter. What you feel is what you are, and that's it. And people can respect it or not respect it. But that's their problem, not yours. Okay? So
Yeah.
for my trans loved ones and the loved ones that I don't know, I see you, I recognize you, we love you, we accept you because you are you. And that's all you have to fucking be. And no one, it's not anybody's job to understand you. It's everyone's job, however, to love and accept you. That's it. No one has to
Yep.
understand. It's not anybody's business to understand you or understand your decisions or why or the wherefores. No, that's not anyone's job. If you get it for you. And all they have to do is love and accept you. That's it. That's the extent. No harm shall come to you. That's it.
Well,
Period.
well, I also want to point out that despite all of their nonsense of canceling DEI and trans people and all of this, guess what? We still had the Trans Day of Visibility. It still happened. There's still trans
Absolutely.
people. They
Yeah.
can't, they can't get rid of them. They're here, and that's that's
They
how
ain't
it
leaving.
is. It's not,
Yeah.
they can try to demonize them all they want. And
Mm-hmm.
if you think for a minute this is not tied to racism
Mm-hmm.
and other bullshit that
Mm-hmm.
is, just should be well beneath anybody's notice, uh, that's what it is. It's plain and simple. And they're also trying to destroy the unity of the LGBTQ plus community by turning gay and lesbians against trans people, which is not working either, because I think
I don't
most of
get
us are
it.
smart enough. Most of us are
Yeah.
smart enough to realize that they're next. They're next. Um,
Yeah, I want to point out something. I had posted something on my Zucker page because that's what I'm calling it now. Anyway, I had posted on my Zucker page a video from this cool woman that I'm really crazy about, so I'm following like all of her posts and whatever. But I reposted something, and she's like, didn't see anybody come out of their skin when they were breaking up the Black Lives Matter Plaza. And I'm like, fucking hell, she's right. I didn't hear shit. I didn't see anybody take to the streets. I didn't see anybody lose their shit. Why not? Why is that any different from anything else? And it's like, are we going to fucking wake up or not? Because we're still in that slumber, it seems like. Uh, um, you
well,
know,
but to be fair, I mean, I think a lot of people were still just exhausted and feeling defeated the one lady who's been at the front of the Black Lives Matter Plaza and the painting and all of that, she was there, and there were a
Mm.
handful of other people, but it really didn't get much press coverage. And but of course, you have to remember, it's a fucking fire hose. I mean, I am really glad that I am not a news editor in this moment, because
Oof.
I don't even know how I would cover it. I mean, there's so much happening. It's just ridiculous. I mean, it is ridiculous. Um, but to also reinforce the point that there are things happening. Uh, I think we have to talk about Cory Booker.
Yes. Hail Cory Booker. I watched
Yeah,
that live. We're sitting there, tears are streaming down our face. Oh my gosh. Watching history,
my
real history.
my favorite, and he beat out the fucking racist bastard, Throm Sturman. Yeah.
Stromsterman.
No, you know what I meant. I can't talk. I
Strom
can't been able
Thurmond.
to.
Strom
Strom
Thurmond, who
Thurman.
was a racist who in 1956 or 57, I can't remember the year, stood on the floor and gave a speech for over 24 hours. I think it was 24 hours and 14 or 18 minutes, and just kind of kept going about segregation. Um, and I think that was the actual topic, about the importance of keeping people separate. Fucking pig. Um, and to have Cory Booker not only meet it, exceed it, and then bypass him by an hour. Holy crap, holy. And what annoyed me afterwards was when he yielded his time and we're sitting there crying. One of the first fucking questions, didn't you have to pee? Who gives a shit? Leave the man alone. Did you not just see history being created? This was one of the most magnificent moments that you're ever going to witness, where a black man took down a racist, it, and did it again, and was brave and smart and did an actual thing and made people proud and talked about the horrible things that this government is doing to all people, you
Yep.
know? Can we not just look in awe for a minute and not ask such a stupid fucking question like, don't you have to pee? I
Yeah.
mean, can we just
Well.
marvel at this moment of brilliance that this man sacrificed himself? Because let me tell you what, to not eat or drink, so he didn't eat from Friday and he didn't drink from the night before,
Mhm.
and to have his body go through the cramping. Now, this man was an athlete, for those who don't know. So he knows what kind of destruction you can do to your body without water for 24 hours, without food, without rest, the delirium that can take over, and to stay strong and to keep going and to even have a voice left after. Listen, I can talk the socks off of anything, but to talk 25 hours is not that he didn't have small breaks, but those breaks were small for questions, so that he could regain some air. Okay. But the toll on the body, unless you have tried to do something like that, you cannot understand the toll on the body that that kind of energy takes. Um,
Yep.
Try it sometime if you don't believe me. It is
Yeah. N-
quite a
no.
feat, quite a feat.
He he
So I
he was amazing.
Yes,
And there was a lot of back and forth on social media about, well, it's just words, blah blah blah, the
it's
usual
not.
the usual crap,
No,
right?
yeah,
But
it's
I, I,
absurd.
I want to point out, that one of the things that he said that I think should resonate with many people is that, he said, and I think this is a Lewis quote, um, but he said, "I can't do everything, but I can do something.
Yeah.
And uh, and I think that there were certain people commenting online about the fact that, well, the people that most need to hear this aren't going to hear it, blah blah blah. But the reality is that that speech was for Americans, and Americans, who feel frustrated and who are concerned about what is happening. And in that in that venue, I mean, it resonated and it inspired people, and hopefully it inspired his colleagues, and we will see more of this, because that is what is needed. That is what needs to happen. There needs to be more of this. There needs to be more representatives and senators that are willing to take the floor. And I mean, they're holding shadow hearings, shadow meetings, whatever you want to call them.
Mhm.
Uh, they won't accomplish, really much. However, it's important. It's important that they get this information out into the public.
Yep.
So, I mean, a big hats off to Cory Booker. I think what he did was phenomenal. The fact that he beat Thurman's record,
Hmm.
uh, you know, and that it was a black man that did it. I'm fucking thrilled. Yes,
Me too.
do
And
it.
it was
Do,
it was so good. And the whole, if you remember John Lewis, and a lot of people don't, unfortunately, the idea of good trouble is such a powerful message right now. And to see Cory Booker, Senator Booker, pick up that mantle and take that on was encouraging, because I have felt so defeated. And to see him take that on and actually do something at a time where the party is so fractured and no one can get on the same page. And it's such a frustrating thing as a person who still identifies as a Democrat, which I do. And, I've been encouraged by so many people to just leave the party. And I'm like, that would be so easy, but I feel a certain kind of way about it for a lot of reasons. But he's the reason why I hang in there. That kind of action is why I stay with it. And then Chuck Schumer is like, "Can I tell you something?" And he said no, and I'm like, "Yes, say no to him, please," because Chuck Schumer is one of the reasons I'm so frustrated. But then, yeah, I look at you know Mr. Booker, and I'm just like, you're the reason why I'm still here. So that that gives me hope and encouragement, and I needed this moment to happen. So yeah, he was preaching to the converted, and yeah, maybe everyone who needed to hear it wasn't going to hear it, but I needed to hear it, and people like me needed to hear it. So I'm
yeah,
grateful to him for giving us that moment. And speaking of moment, I'm going to take a moment to say, support the Wild Hunt. Please give it all your support. Wildhunt.org, pagan paper of record, real journalism. And we are finding out how unreal some journalism is becoming. We're seeing a lot of bowing and scraping and acquiescing to the current administration. And one of the scariest points we're seeing that in is in the legal profession. Uh, Starr, can you explain to folks what's happening with lawyers and law firms, and how this could possibly fuck up everyone in America?
yeah. So one of the things that the Trump administration has done is they're going after law firms that either had, like the law firm that uh, Mueller worked for, some of the other law firms that had taken cases where there were cases involving Trump. He's going after them. And so, anybody that works in government, they're basically terminating their ability to represent their clients. Uh, in some cases, it's been more along the lines of, just revoking their security clearance. So if you're somebody that works on any kind of government stuff, you have to have a certain level of security clearance as an attorney in order to represent those people. So they're revoking security clearances and prohibiting them from working on any government cases. Now, and they've also, some of the other charming things that they've done is that they have even called some of their clients and said, if this firm is representing you, um, you're going to be in violation of the law. They're doing some of this under the guise of DEI stuff. Um, I mean, it's just pretty awful stuff, and it's very much it's retribution. There's no there's nothing else you can say about it other than that it is absolutely uh, the Trump administration and Trump uh, pushing the people that work in his cabinet or in his administration to go after folks that he feels have wronged him in some way. Merely by doing their jobs, which is, that's just nutty as fuck to begin with. But yeah, that is where we are with this. And imagine if the Biden administration had ever done anything like this. I mean, it's just, um, I mean, the damage, and some of these law firms have already, you know, bent the knee and are like,
Mm-hmm.
okay, if you don't fuck with us, we'll give you, uh, you know, how many millions of dollars in free legal advice and legal support, whatever.
Mm-hmm.
So, and this could just, I mean, if you can't trust that your attorney can represent you, um, I mean, it's turning the whole legal system on its head.
Yeah.
And I'm not, I apologize. I didn't have a chance to look to see where some of these cases are standing at the moment. But, uh, this administration has already demonstrated that they have no problem just ignoring the law. And that's kind of where we are at the moment with
Mm-hmm.
all of it. And they're like, they don't care. They're just like, okay, yeah, uh, this is what we're doing. Okay, alrighty then. Uh,
Yeah.
how this is gonna shake out is it's unsustainable. Much like everything else that is going on right now, it is just it's unsustainable. And sooner or later, it's gonna come to a head. Hopefully sooner rather than later, because the damage. I mean, they are breaking shit left and right. Okay, they're just
Mm-hmm.
breaking everything they can get their little grubby paws on. They are breaking it, uh, and
What I
it's
need
it's
folks to understand is at this point, as early in this administration as it is, and it's only been a few months, and I know it seems a lot longer,
like
but it's
years.
only a,
It feels like it's been 3 years.
does.
Okay,
It does. But it's only been a few months. Okay? That's it. Already, the way life has worked so far, being an American, is completely done now. It's completely changed. Let me explain. Everything that we have known to be true in trade, in relationships with other countries, has all changed now. Governments outside of the United States that used to deal with us no longer trust us. Even if everything were to reverse tomorrow, even if Trump were to completely backpedal 100% on everything he has done in the last 10 to 12 weeks, 10 weeks, 8 weeks, whatever it is, um, the United States is no longer considered a reliable partner because of the shit that has gone down, because of the dodgy department, because of the tariffs, because of the constant threats, because we appear outside to be so unstable that no one can trust us. Therefore, anything we do from this point forward is questionable as a country. Therefore, all the things that people were getting from us, they are making deals with other countries. They are partnering with other countries, and we are outside of the door now. Everything that we were getting, making money from, those deals are slipping away at an incredible rate. You saw the stock market. There's no way you've missed it. It's at the top of every news report. Market's crashing, the market's crashing, the market's crashing. Yes, it's crashing. People have stopped believing in America. And unfortunately, it's going to go up. I mean, it will go up and down for a while, but the standing that we had in the world, the credibility of the United States will never recover to where it was before January 20th of this year. It'll never go back.
Okay.
As
Okay.
far
But
as, okay, now this is an opinion, okay? This is my opinion,
yes, yes, of course it's your opinion. And
but
you're very entitled to that. However, I think saying that it
uh-huh.
will never
Hmm.
uh,
In
go
my
back to where we
lifetime,
are.
I don't think it
Maybe,
will.
maybe. I
Hmm.
mean, it well, but it. I think that that is very much dependent on what comes next. What happens next? That is a bigger determining factor than, you know. We need more Cory Bookers. We need more AOCs. We need more people that are legitimate and are willing to fight and are willing to stand up for what's right and are willing to take out the trash. And I think that that is coming, and I have to believe that that is coming. Otherwise, I don't know how I would function. But I mean, I'm not disagreeing with you per se, but I do think that, I mean, serious damage has been done to our country, to our reputation, all of it. There's no two ways about that. Like these tariffs that got put in place yesterday, um, I can't even begin to tell you how horrific they are going to be for small businesses everywhere, because we can't just make shit. You know, we don't
No.
have, it's going to take 3 to 5 years to build factories. 3 to 5 years.
Hmm.
Okay.
Hmm.
We don't, I think that somehow in Trump's feeble brain and the idiots that surround him and the architects of the 2025 project, like they all think they're like these factories are just standing dormant and that they can just fling open their doors and people will rush in. I heard one asswipe this morning saying that, that unemployment was going to go crashing down. There's like, because all of this is going to create jobs and it's going to start today. You're going to see unemployment numbers start to drop today, just since these tariffs have been announced. It's, uh, which of course that's not true. I mean, even if there were factories that were just, you know, standing empty and just needed people to run them, all of the equipment would be outdated. The things that we make, we don't make them like we did in the 50s or the 60s or the 70s or even the 90s or the aughts. Technology is at a breakneck pace,
Yep.
and not only that, but go to visit an Amazon warehouse and see how many workers are employed versus how much is automated. A
Hmm.
lot of it is automated. And if they're going to build factories, they're going to be automated. They're not going to be, you know, they're not going to employ thousands of people, and then he's like, "Oh, the construction trade, they're going to be building factories." Well, do you know how few people are employed when it comes to construction? I mean, you're talking what, maybe 100 people here, 100 people there, um, but Meanwhile, they've cut all of these government jobs, which are, tens of thousands, hundreds of thousands. Uh, it's just mind boggling how, like, they can't math. They cannot math. Like, they clearly cannot math. And then, you've got RFK Jr. and his nonsense. I saw I saw a post earlier online that said measles and tariffs. What century is this?
Mm-hmm.
Uh, and I mean, and that's literally that is where we are. I mean, it's just absolutely insane. Uh, it's notable which countries did not have tariffs placed on them. There
Mm-hmm.
were none placed on Russia.
Oh, shock.
Yeah, none placed on Israel.
Oh,
Another
shocker.
shocker. Yeah.
Yeah.
Uh, you know, it, it's extraordinary to me that this is where we find ourselves. However, so the Senate passed uh, a bill that basically exempts Canada from these tariffs.
Uh-huh.
And surprisingly, you want to know who two of them, the four Republicans joined them. You can probably guess who two of them are because uh, they
Susan Collins and oh God. Who else
Murkowski.
decided? Oh, cool. Murkowski.
But the two others, Mitch
Yeah.
McConnell and Paul Rand.
Shut up. No way.
No, Paul
Mitch
Rand
Mc
is mad. Oh,
Really?
yeah.
Mitch McConnell went against him too? No
Yep.
joke. Get
Yep.
out of here. Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
Wow. Okay.
So,
Okay.
you know, so they at least are not drinking the Kool-Aid to the extent that everyone else is. But so, I mean, I think that's it shows that they haven't completely let their brains fall out. I'm sure it's self-interest,
Sure. Of course.
not to mention the fact that, I mean, Mitch McConnell has enough money; he probably doesn't give a shit what happens with
And he's
investment.
not running again. Yeah, he's
No,
done anyway.
right,
But
but I mean, Rand Paul's kind of an idiot anyway. But even he recognizes how bad this is and how bad it
mhm.
will be in the long run. And so they're not all. I have hope, and the way you get their attention is you hit them where it's going to hurt them the most, and that is in their bank account. And that's
Yeah.
that's where we are right now. So they're just gonna. I feel like we're getting really close to the fuck around and find out stage, and it can't come soon enough for me. Uh,
I agree
it
with
just
that.
can't.
I agree with that. I
Uh,
think the fuck around and find out stage is already starting. Um,
mhm.
the problem is how long until something actually changes, because my concern is that by firing all of these government folks, all of the folks that work, for all these different departments, isn't so much about Doge, Dodgy, whatever, and that mission, alleged mission. I look at it more as a dangerous consolidation of power. I don't,
Mhm. Mhm.
while it may be a situation where they're just going to give all that saved money to the millionaires and billionaires they're friends with, I think the plan is much more nefarious than that. If you
Oh
shrink
yeah.
the government, you consolidate the power, and I think there's not enough people talking about that aspect of it.
Well, yeah.
Which
No.
brings me to one of the other points you had that for us to discuss today, which was, the third term question. where shit for brains thinks he's going to get one without any kind of a fight. Um, which scares a living shit out of me. Not that I think he'll necessarily make it that far, because let's face it, the diet is not so great, and we are old. You know, as much as we would like to think we're not, we are. Um, so, and we're already in a constitutional fucking crisis every 5 minutes now. What's one more?
Well, okay, so I think I think first of all, the Roberts Court has kind of uh, woken up a little bit. Uh, you know, he was not pleased when Trump started talking about impeaching judges, that he did not like the decisions they handed down.
I noticed.
And I
Yeah.
mean, and as far as the third term goes, the 22nd Amendment is very clear,
Uh-huh.
very clear. There is,
Uh-huh.
any fuckery that they're going to try to do where, Trump runs as vice president, you can't do that either. It's illegal. The only way that he would serve a third term is if they completely set aside not only the 22nd Amendment, but also many of the others. And really, they would just have to kind of do away with the Constitution altogether, which, guess what? That means that Roberts and all of his little pals would be out of a job. So, and they like being in power. There's no way they're going to let that happen. Um, the only other way that could happen would be by military coup. And I honestly don't think that Trump has the military. I don't think that he has the military. I think that's why they're trying to get rid of so many people.
Right.
Uh, you know, and they can install, but here's the other thing. Like we talked about with Social Security, and there are a whole lot of retired people that will just make it their mission to fucking they'll be burning shit down if they don't get their checks. But also, they've pissed off the veterans, right? And now they've basically made veterans out of a lot of the military that they're dismissing, which I don't want to take too much of our time to talk about that, but already the court has ruled again that they can't fire uh, trans military members, and all of these firings have been are being contested in court and are being found to be they can't do what they're doing basically. But how stupid do you have to be, even if you're planning a military coup, that you're going to piss off all the seniors, all the veterans, and most of your active military. Okay, like yeah, I'm
I
telling you
don't
this.
get it. Yeah, it
Well,
doesn't make sense to me, but maybe I'm
they
missing
think.
something. Maybe there's this loyalty thing because, he's getting rid of so many people that he doesn't consider loyal. There was a report about this today that,
Mhm.
he's getting rid of more officials that he doesn't feel they're loyal enough to him. I don't know what kind of vow or oath he is expecting people to take. Uh, I, I I don't even have a clue as to what any of that means anymore. Um, but I don't know if it's a hazing, a rite of passage. I have no fucking idea. But apparently, there's a whole lot more that goes into this loyalty thing, and that's the only people he wants around him. And he is happy to do away with anyone who he feels is not sufficiently loyal. And I hate to say this because I'm getting older too, but there's things that happen in the brain with age, and things can be twisted and misperceptions happen, and all kinds of things can get a little twisty in the mind of a 78, soon to be 79-year-old person. Just saying.
Yeah.
you know
Well,
has anyone
I think
checked his
we're
meds? So,
Well, I think we've been there for a while anyway, but
well,
uh,
yeah, but I'm not a
you know, he
professional and I don't know.
well, I mean, I can be an armchair professional.
There you go.
I can be a Monday morning quarterback. But I mean, even professionals have weighed in and said, that just if you look at video of him from even 10 years ago and you put it up next to against what the way he handles himself uh, in when he steps up to the podium, is, I mean, there's a huge difference there, and there's certainly some degradation when it comes to his ability to function. So I don't think
Mhm.
that's even in dispute. But uh, one other thing that I really want to toss in here while we're just having a little uh, administration salad as to the fuckery salad. We're having some fuckery salad. Um, it's my favorite.
I
Uh,
love salad.
um, so some other things that are happening that I think are really interesting, um, as far as what we see happening. First of all, we are watching this in real time. I mean, and it's mind boggling. It's just mind boggling. I mean that. Ouch! Get down. Sorry, cat
Yeah,
interference. It
it
happens a
happens.
lot. It
Hmm.
happens a lot around here. Uh, and she clawed my leg, and now I've completely lost my train of thought. Thanks, cat. I just don't see how any of this ends well. Certainly not for this administration. Certainly not for the Republican Party. And I think that they just think people are just incredibly stupid, and nobody was gonna push back. And now that they're getting pushback yet again, which you would think the last time there was tremendous pushback, which I think they said, oh, okay, well, we'll get pushback, but we'll do it all really quick, and we'll ignore the courts, and we'll declare martial law. I don't
Hmm.
think that'll work. I honestly do not think that will work. I think that they thought it would work, but uh, it's not going to work. And not only that, they can't get all of us. There are what's the population of this country?
Oh,
I
I have no
mean,
idea.
like 335 million, something like that.
I don't
And how
know.
many of them are there? How much military is there? What are they just going to nuke every major city and then, roll out troops?
Yeah, that's
Then
exactly
what do
what I
they have?
think they'll do. They don't
Well,
give a shit. Here's the thing. Again, once again, from Game of Thrones, he would burn everything to the ground if he could be king of the ashes. He doesn't care. It
well,
doesn't make sense. It doesn't make
he may
sense
not
because,
care.
yeah, I know, but other people do. Of course, because you can't rule over nothing, because then there's no one
Right.
to rule over. I get it. But it doesn't have to make sense. It doesn't have to make sense to them. We are
Well,
inferior beings because we do not have the clout required to breathe their air.
well, I think that they should revisit a little history. Um,
Well,
there was this
or all of
there
it.
was this
Yeah.
there was this party in Boston way, way long, long time ago. And yeah, that one, the Boston Tea Party. Um, how did that work out?
Not so
I
hot.
mean, and also, like, I'm having like a vague recollection, like that was about what? Oh
Uh,
yeah. tariffs and taxes. They put a tax on tea where nobody could afford it. After
Mm-hmm.
they had imported all these fucking assholes from countries where they drank tea like it was the thing. It was the thing. Um, so I think what we're going to see is a tremendous amount of pushback. Like I looked at the stock market earlier. I haven't looked at it since I got home.
I wouldn't
But
if I were you.
oh well, I don't own anything, so what do I care?
That's true.
You know, burn it all down. I don't care. I do care. But I mean, just looking at all of the stocks just a few hours ago. Ouch! Dang it! Sorry, cat. Um, I don't
You're
know what it
barred from
is.
the room until further notice, Kitty.
Yeah, if I had a door,
I know. You
um,
don't. I know.
I don't. But I mean, like almost free fall.
Mm-hmm.
Um, I mean, we're talking like down like 1,400, almost 1,500 points, and that's on top of yesterday,
Mm-hmm.
where I mean, just I can't see this being sustainable because I don't think that they're like, oh, the markets will stabilize, it'll all balance out, but that is not what's going to happen. That's not what's going to happen.
I know.
Uh, and like I want to know who are the people who said to him, "Yeah, this is a great idea. Let's go with these terror." Like did they actually believe that this is somehow going to be in any way, shape, or form helpful? It's just not. Oh, I have to talk about the penguins. Okay, do you know about the penguins?
I don't, but before you go into the penguins, I just have to say I was having a conversation yesterday, and you know, and I work with all different kinds of people, and I was like, I'm not very happy about my 401k, and this is how you know when people have no clue, because when someone looks up at you and says, "Don't worry, the tariffs will put it all back." Obviously, you don't know what a tariff is, you don't know what a tariff does. So if you're ever questioning who you're dealing with, ask them if they know what a tariff is. If you get a shithead answer like I got, then you know exactly who you're dealing
Yeah,
with and what they voted for. So you can ask without directly asking. So there you go. That's your
yeah,
tell. That's your tell.
yeah.
Go ahead, talk about the penguins because I need. Hopefully, it's good news about penguins because I don't think I can take much more bullshit today. But go ahead
Oh
and hit me
no.
with it.
Oh no.
Oh,
So,
no bad.
well,
Okay, go ahead.
okay. So one of the things that he said yesterday was that these tariffs were reciprocal.
No,
Okay.
they weren't. No, they're not. Oh, with the fucking
Okay.
chart and the bullshit. Oh, don't. Oh, God. Go ahead.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah. All
But
right. Go ahead.
one of the places that tariffs have been imposed are on uninhabited islands. Okay. And specifically, islands, off the coast of Antarctica. The only
What?
things that the only things that live there are penguins. So those fucking penguins, they are the ones who started the
Pay up,
trade
bitches.
war. Uh,
Wow.
and then also some islands off the coast of Greenland that they're what was it I saw somebody say online that their only export are polar bear made products. But there is an airstrip on one of them, and should people ever decide to live there, then they will be subject to tariffs. I mean, this is how crazy all of this is. Okay, an island with penguins. Okay, there are parts of Antarctica that are being slapped with tariffs that no one lives there except penguins. So we
Tuxedo
knew that.
wearing bitches. God
That's
damn
right.
it. Those
I
birds.
know, right? They fucked
Fuckers.
everything up. Yeah,
Ugh.
exactly. So I mean, you can't make this stuff up, but the hilarity of how fucking like incredibly just stupid they are is just like, why would you let that, if you cared about your president, why on earth would you let that be included? Why? Because it is, I mean, I guarantee you watch any of the late night talk shows tonight, they are all going to be cracking on this shit. I mean, penguins, root of all evil, the source of all tariffs. I mean, what the fuck? What the fuck, Raina? I mean, what the actual fuck? Um, you can't make this stuff up, and it just doesn't get any. It's just weirder than snake shoes.
They
Weirder
are
than snake shoes.
they are counting on what they are counting on is that America is either too tired or too stupid to know the truth. This is what they're counting on. They are counting on America being so disengaged that anything they put in front of him to say, he can sell. They are counting on our laziness. No, listen to me. They are counting on our laziness. They are counting on our inability to follow the bouncing balls because there's so many right now. They are just throwing everything at all of us to distract, to disturb, to keep us off balance, to make sure we can't follow anything because while we're trying to follow one story, 17 other stories are happening. Don't buy the bullshit. Don't buy the lies. Americans, we've got to be smarter than this. We cannot let ourselves succumb to this kind of misinformation at every fucking point. They are
I
trying
think
to
we are.
yeah, but we can't let it happen. We can't let them rewrite history. We cannot forget the history we've lived through. They are trying to rewrite shit that we have witnessed. It is so important, and I have this discussion with my spouse all the time. There's a huge difference between living during history and having someone tell you about a history that happened in the past before you were born or before you could remember it. Please, please, please pass everything you can remember. All of the reality that you can remember must be told and retold because they are trying to make sure that the books do not include actual history. Things about Black Lives Matter Plaza will be erased. Anything about Cory Booker and last night, they will try to erase. Anything that is not white Christian driven, they will try to erase. They will not talk about Barack Obama except as a blip. Everything that you remember that is real about your family, about the economy, about who Trump is as a person, about what things were like when you were young, what your parents went through. Try as much as you can to write your history, the history of your family, the history of the things you believe, before they wipe it out, because that is the goal. They want to rewrite all of the facts so that they can change history, so that they can control the masses as new generations come up. I'm
Well, they
telling
can
you,
try. They can
that's what they're
try.
trying to do, but that is what they're
But
trying to do.
well, and they can try, but they're not going to get very far.
I
They're
hope
not
not.
going to get very far.
I hope
And
not.
you know, every time that they've done something so far, there's been pretty extreme pushback, and I don't expect that to change anytime soon. You know, which is why, again, I want to remind people, pick your project, pick the thing that matters the most to you, and that's where you put your energy. And the only way they win is if we don't fight back, because we're
Right.
going to keep pushing, we are
Yes,
going to
we
keep
are.
fighting.
Yes, we are.
You know, Raina and I aren't leaving the country. We're staying right
Fuck
here.
no, I am not ceding this country to those bastards. Are you kidding me? Fuck
Exactly.
no. I'm not leaving.
Exactly.
Shit. And if I was going to leave, I'd have left already. And if I didn't leave during the Bush administration, I ain't leaving for this bullshit. No. No. But one other thing I do want to encourage folks again is to build a library in your house of some stuff that you know is going to be in danger. Books like Animal Farm, Fahrenheit Fahrenheit 451, A People's History, um, Lord of the Flies, the classics, To Kill a Mockingbird. Help me, Star. My brain's freezing. Uh,
Well,
uh, um, Books that are important to you, books
there,
that tell the truth about things that have happened, and classic books. And I know I said, 1984.
19, anything by George
George
Orwell.
Orwell. Yes, that kind of
Um,
thing. If that stuff is meaningful to you, um, again, the things that we were taught to read in elementary school, things that were about the injustices in the world and the things that were supposed to help us build character. These books are still important. Um, so
well,
I
and
would go ahead.
yeah. Well, I mean, and I would say that, I mean, those are all just fiction titles, but there are plenty of fantastic actual histories
Hmm.
that, um, you know, some of the books that have just in the last few years that have been written, um, like Maria Ressa's book, How to
Yes,
Stand Up to a
yes,
Dictator.
yes,
Um, some of the books about racism that
yes.
that they've tried unsuccessfully to ban. Just any book that was written by somebody who is a person of color. Uh, Michael Michael Harriot's,
Hmm.
Black
Hmm.
as fuck history. Um,
Yeah.
uh,
Get
you
these
know,
books while we can still have them, because who knows
well,
what they're going to do.
as I said, I am more hopeful than you. They can
Yeah.
fucking try, but they'll have to come pry that bitch out of my cold dead hands. I am not
Hmm.
giving up my. You know how I am about my books anyway.
I know.
Um, I'm
I know.
uh, just for y'all who don't know, I'm kind of a freak. I mean, I have a lot of books. Most of it's fiction, but I have a lot of books, and I'm not going to talk about how many tarot decks I have because the tarot police will probably come find me and take me away. Um, but all of that matters, and I think for pagans in particular,
Hmm.
uh, that we definitely need to, I mean, we do have the New Alexandrian Library, and if you're not familiar with them, you should be. You
Hmm.
should go online and you should find them. And if you want to donate some money somewhere, that would be a good place to start as far as preserving our pagan histories, because they've already
Hmm.
done all the hard work. They have
Yep.
assembled an amazing library that is full of nothing but pagan um, pagan titles, and that really outlines. I mean, our whole history as far as modern paganism.
Hmm.
Uh, these are things that are all important. It may not seem important at in the moment, but I can assure you that it is.
Hmm.
Um, I want all of these things to still exist. I don't want you know 10 generations from now people have to go through what we had to go through to figure out what the hell is how do I what do I do if I think I'm a witch, how do I learn
Right.
this stuff.
Yep.
That I want it to be there for every generation moving forward.
Yeah.
And you can bet that our good friend uh, Manny at the Wild Hunt
Hmm.
uh, has a plan for making sure of preserving the Wild Hunts archives so that they will be there whenever we need those things. Uh, but all of that is important. I mean, and
Yeah.
I feel like I almost feel overwhelmed just in this conversation that we've had because there are so many things, but you don't have to do all of them. Just do one of them. Pick one
Yeah.
thing. Pick
Hmm.
one thing that is important to you. And maybe if it's all important to you and you don't know where to start, then maybe look at the thing that is getting the least amount of love. So here's something that happens in rescue fairly more often than most people would believe. And that is, we will have people come in who either want to foster or adopt, and they will ask, which cat is the least likely to be adopted? Which cat gets the least amount of attention?
Mm-hmm.
Which cat is going to be the hardest to even place in a foster home? And then they'll be like, I want that cat. We had
Mm-hmm.
a woman who adopted a cat not too long ago that she's like, who's the most hateful cat you got? That's the cat I want. I want the most hateful cat you got, because I
Bless her.
know that that it's harder to find homes for them. So maybe if you're on the fence and you're like, I want to do something, I don't know what to do, I'm not sure which cause to fight for, because I feel like they're all important, and they are all important. I want to stress that.
Yeah.
But maybe look at, okay, what is something important that's not flashy and sexy and not going to get a lot of attention, but it's important nonetheless. Maybe that is the thing that you choose to support. um,
Ticket.
if you're really looking at doing the work, I think that's a great place. That's a great place to start, because there are tons of causes. I mean, I, my whole mission is black cats now,
Yep.
and because they don't get the love, and they're extraordinary. So, um,
Mm.
as was said, you can't
Mm.
do everything, but you can do something. So
Yep.
pick something, and just beat that drum until, either you don't it doesn't need to be beat anymore, or that you break the drum and then you have to go get a new drum, which that's a whole nother problem. Oops, down the rabbit hole we go.
For sure. But on that note, my arms are tired.
Okay. Yeah.
But anyway, I don't know. No, you're right. And we got to keep doing it. We just got to keep doing it. And we will. We will not stop. You won't stop, so we won't stop. And we are here for the long haul. And on that note, all right, everybody, we'll be back in 2 weeks. Say goodnight, Star.
Good night, Star.
All right, everybody, we'll be back. Have a good one. Keep up the fight.